North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. My name is John David Wells. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine. And we debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. What happened to my camera shots? Wow. I hope you like these. It's kind of strange. All right. So anyway, there are two news stories today. One involves several Supreme Court decisions that continue the court's willingness to rein in regulatory power of executive branch agencies. The other story has to do with the debate. The debate requires your participation. You can do so by calling me at 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172, or you can join me on the chat room, and that would be available on the platform that you're watching. The question is, who won last night? Who lost last night? Answer those questions, please. 817-379-2172. We'll take as many calls as you want to put on the air if you want to join. This is not the day to sit back and say, well, I'll just listen to Wells and, let it go at that. We need to hear from you. It's a special town hall meeting of the Wells Report. Last night, the debate was instructive. Last night, the debate was illuminating. I'm not going to opine one way or another, but I want to tell you that I have made some editorial decisions today. And here they are. And this is opinion, so I'm going to go over here. I have chosen left of center mainstream media sources for the reporting I'm about to do today. And the reason I'm doing that is because right-wing media sources are spiking the football. And that's not what we need. What we need is we need clarity. What we need is straightforward, reasonable reporting. Because last night was a seminal moment in the history of this republic. It exposed many of the things that we've discussed on this broadcast having to do with the current presidency. And it is undeniable. And like I said, beyond that statement, I'm going to wait until about 10. Hold on just a minute here. I'm going to make my comments at 10:18 this morning. And what I want to do, I'm sorry, not 10:18. 10:18. And we're going to go through it. If you sense a bit of somberness in my delivery, well, you can ascertain whatever opinion you want to make on that. But what we need to do here is we need to come together as a nation. And we need to decide where our nation is going and who will lead us. And that is the reason I ask you, who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? And why? 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. Morning Joe had this report this morning. I think it's the best way to start this broadcast this morning on the Wells Report.
They're going to be out there fact-checking all the things he said. I can't think of one thing he said that was true. No, I'm not being facetious. But look, we're going to beat this guy. We need to beat this guy. And I need you in order to beat him. You're the people I've run for. You are the reason why America's as good as we are. We're the finest nation in the whole damn world. And nobody's close. So let's keep going. See you at the next one.
Mr. President, how did you perform tonight?
I think we did well.
Do you have any concerns about your performance?
No, it's hard to debate a liar. New York Times pointed out he lied 26 times. Big lie.
Welcome to the fourth hour of Morning Joe. That was President Biden first speaking to reporters after the debate, and then with that answer to reporters about his performance. It was quite a night, I will tell you. NBC News senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson takes us inside last night's debate room.
On stage in the presidential debate, missteps from the current president and misleading attacks from the previous one. From President Biden, who's battling voter concerns about his age, a shaky start. With a raspy voice, he seemed to lose his train of thought when asked about the national debt.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Later, mixing up former President Trump's name in a comment about Russia before correcting himself.
If you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want.
At the end of the debate, First Lady Jill Biden escorting him off stage. Two sources telling NBC News President Biden had a cold. Former President Trump pouncing on his rival's slip-ups.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
From Mr. Trump, a series of dodges and lies about the 2020 election, refusing to deliver a clear answer when asked whether he'd accept the results this November.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely.
I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner.
Halfway through the debate, President Biden bringing up Mr. Trump's conviction.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now.
And getting very personal.
How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
The president also slamming Mr. Trump for reportedly calling veterans suckers and losers, referencing his own late son who served in Iraq, with Mr. Trump denying he ever said it.
My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Regarding January 6th, Mr. Trump downplaying what happened during the attack on the Capitol.
On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people.
Both candidates trying to make their cases on issues key to voters, from the economy.
He decimated the economy.
To abortion access.
The Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill. And I agree with their decision to have done that. And I will not block it.
President Biden pivoting to immigration in his answer on abortion, one of his strongest issues, according to polls.
The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that.
Afterwards, Trump surrogates flooding the spin room to tout what they saw as a decisive win.
I thought President Trump was calm, strong, thoughtful tonight.
Vice President Kamala Harris hitting the airwaves to defend the president.
There was a slow start, but it was a strong finish.
But multiple Democratic lawmakers telling NBC News they're concerned about the president's performance, with some wondering anonymously whether he should remain on the ticket.
To the Dem panic that's bubbling up tonight, you say?
Do more, worry less.
That was a non-statement by Gavin Newsom. And that tells you an awful lot about what happened last night and where the Democrat Party finds itself this morning. From the chat room, Brad says this is not a time to celebrate or gloat. It's more of a time to reflect and remorse. Yvonne says President Biden called former President Trump a whiner. That's such a juvenile comment. Hey, Texan, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. There are there are a lot of news stories. We're going to take these. We're going to take these in order. What I want to do is I want to start with just nuts and bolts. This is from Fox News, and this will give you a hint of what the right-wing media is doing these days. President Biden's rough performance at the CNN presidential debate has caused an earthquake across the media landscape, ranging from dismal reviews to vocal calls on the left for him to withdraw from the 2024 race. CNN's John King put a spotlight on the very aggressive panic in the Democrat Party that began in the early minutes of the debate. Let me see if I can bring that video up for you. What we want to do here is, you'll note that this show's a little bit different because our country's a little bit different, and we simply have to do as Brad said, reflect. We have to think. We have to determine just exactly where we stand in this nation at this moment with regards to our presidential leadership. We have a chance to change things. And I suggest that what we should do is make those changes. And hopefully we'll be able to do that. Let me see if I can, hold on just a minute here. Let me see if I can, yeah, good. Okay. This is the CNN report that I just, the CNN report that I just referenced, CNN's John King. Let's take a look at this as we continue this morning here on the Wells Report. Let me, I didn't prepare this video, so we're just going to do it on the fly. Here is John King from CNN.
It's into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it. Some of those conversations include, should we go to the White House and ask the president to step aside? Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call, because they feel this debate was so terrible. They do say in moments in the debate later, the president got better and got his footing, but then at the end, even his closing statement was a little halting. The contrast between the two candidates. But I can tell you, it started minutes in. It started with the first couple of answers, and it has continued throughout the night from a, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, to what do we do about this? And it involves very senior people in the Democratic Party, including elected officials, saying we have a problem.
Yeah, they do have a problem. And the clarity is perhaps finally beginning to coalesce in the minds of Democrat leaders and policymakers around the country. The question, who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? And why? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. I'm going to opine, as it turns out, by the way, at approximately 11:28. My times are wrong. And I don't know how that happened. But anyway, that being said, who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? 817-379-2172. The Texan, one of my most dear podcasting friends, said, that was not a debate last night. It was a crying shame. What do you think? Let me know. 817-379-2172. Back in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? And why? This is a special town hall edition, this town hall meeting edition of the Wells Report, so please do weigh in. Agreement with me is not required. Agreement with me is not mandatory. If you believe that President Biden won the debate, if you believe that Donald Trump won the debate, then tell me. 817-379-2172. This is not the time to be on the sidelines. If you've never called this broadcast, go ahead. I am in listening mode, and I will not be speaking especially about my particular opinions until 12:18 this evening, or this afternoon. I'm not going to be opining until then. I'm just going to do news reporting because that's what we do. We report the news. And I'm going to make commentary a little bit later on. But you can. And you can do it on the chat room if you like. The Texan, after saying it wasn't a debate last night, it was a crying shame, also pointed out the mainstream media cannot lie about President Biden's mental state any longer. True. It's absolutely true. And says watching Biden listening to and adjusting his earphones and then repeating Obama's whining about everything being his predecessor's fault was humorous. Jesse says, I feel like this had been the plan all along. The Texan says, yeah, lots of folks agree with you, Jesse. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. USA Today reports as follows. In the minutes and hours following the first debate of 2024 between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, late-night hosts and morning show anchors had a variety of reactions to what happened on stage. We started our broadcast with Morning Joe, and they didn't pull any punches against the president. They did throw rhetoric at Donald Trump that was, in a couple of places, just plain inaccurate. You know, they were talking about January 6th, and he answered that question fully. The acceptance of the results of the 2024 election, he accepted it fully, and it was characterized by MSNBC, which is a biased news outlet, as evading the question. It was plain and simple. It was not. On abortion, the president said, the Supreme Court just ruled on the abortion pill. I'm not standing in the way of that. I agree with the decision. That is a clear-cut answer, but they said that there was some kind of dodging going on. For 90 minutes last night without a studio audience, which was good. That was good. Truly. Biden and Trump attacked each other's records on issues facing the nation, including abortion, child care costs, and the spread of opioids and other challenges. Moderators and CNN anchors Dana Bash and Jake Tapper also pressed the candidates on the Israel-Hamas war and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Biden struggled on the debate stage with a raspy voice attributed to a cold and froze at one point when talking about Medicare, causing worry among Democrats over the president's performance and candidacy as he runs for a second term in office. Here's how late night and morning show hosts reacted to the debate. Finally, MSNBC and Fox News agree the CNN presidential debate was a grisly mess. See, they also say, Good Morning America hosts, the president struggled with answers. Trump struggled with truth. Good Morning America host George Stephanopoulos said this morning of the show. This was a disaster for Joe Biden, said Jonathan Karl, chief White House correspondent for ABC News. The president did make a late night stop at Waffle House and was asked directly about his debate performance. Rachel Scott said during Good Morning America, he said he had no concerns, but that is not what we're hearing from Democrats this morning. CBS News focuses on the debate. Both presumptive nominees were hoping to shake off concerns about their age and fitness, but President Biden failed to land any knockout blows. His stumbling performance is raising a lot of alarm bells for many Democrats this morning. That was according to CBS Morning's Gayle King. This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? And why? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172 is our telephone number. You can put it up on the chat room if you'd like to. And do not shrink from taking part in this special town hall meeting edition of the Wells Report. This, by the way, is the 28th day of June. It's Friday, Fishing Shirt Friday. It's 2024, and we'll be back with more of the Wells Report coming up in just a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is a special edition of the Wells Report. It's a town hall meeting. Join us on the chat room. Join us on the telephone. 817-379-2172. I'm asking you to answer this question. Who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? And why? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Going to the going to the chat room. Let's see. Okay. Don Pepper has joined us. Donnie, thanks for being here with us. He says Montana says hello, and I appreciate him being here. Where's the chat board today? I don't know, Jessica. I can read it. So if you're having trouble finding it, I'm sorry. There have been a few technical things that have happened behind the scenes here in the Wells Report that we're trying to fix. In fact, Rumble is not playing live today, and that has to do with some arcane technical stuff. Don Pepper said, time to take his keys away. Mark Greer watched GB News and Sky Australia this morning. They reported Biden's loss of faculties as being obvious. Gary says, a cold? How many colds has he had in the last 4 years? How many more excuses are people going to come up with? He's deteriorated immensely in the last 3 years. Anyone can see it. Then I was chuckling when I came back. Yvonne said, darn it, I forgot to wear my fishing shirt today. It is Fishing Shirt Friday. Jess says, America lost the debate. Ann said, the DNC won the cluster last night. Let's see what else. Gary says, no doubt to Mark Greer, who then said the loss of faculties. It was painfully obvious. Let's see who else. Texan, if you're out there, give me a call. I want to hear from you. I've been on your show. How about you be on mine for a minute? I am just as soon as I finish eating lunch. Okay. Anhoy Guzman says they now have the material needed to force Jill and Obama out of the White House. Why else would that fiasco even be publicized before the convention and the candidates selected? That's where we stand from a standpoint of the chat room. As I said, I'm going to be giving you my comments later on this broadcast. Let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, this is cogent. A close friend at the New York Times says the president must drop out. The debate made him weep. He said, I had been ready to give Biden the benefit of the doubt up to now. And where does this come from? It comes from Thomas Friedman. Some of President Biden's longest running and staunchest allies, including liberal columnist Thomas Friedman, are now calling on Biden to allow another Democrat to run for president after his performance at last night's CNN presidential debate. Friedman, a close friend of the president's, wrote that the debate was one of the most heartbreaking events he had witnessed in American politics. Joe Biden, a good man, a good president, has no business running for re-election. Friedman said the debate between Biden and former President Trump made him weep. He said this, quote, to give America the greatest shot possible of deterring Trump and the threat in November, the president has to come forward and declare he will not be running for re-election and is releasing all of his delegates for the Democrat National Convention. He claimed that he'd given Biden the benefit of the doubt before because of their prior interactions in one-on-one meetings. The president had been a longtime reader of the veteran reporter and opinion writer and looks to him for guidance on Middle East issues. Quote, I had been ready to give Biden the benefit of the doubt up to now because during the times I engaged with him one-on-one, I found him up to the job. He is clearly not any longer. Friedman argued that Vice President Kamala Harris has a right to compete for the top spot, but wrote that voters deserve an open process to find a replacement candidate for Biden, opening up the possibilities for Democrat Party leaders to compete before the Democrat convention on August 19th. He says, quote, a younger Joe Biden could have been that leader, but time has finally caught up with him, and that was painfully and inescapably obvious last night. Friedman is one of many influential voices in the media now calling on Biden to withdraw from the 2024 presidential race. The New York Times opinion page was riddled with panicked responses to Biden's performance, which was marked by a rasping voice, halting, sometimes unintelligible responses, and a seeming inability to pin down Trump on his record despite getting opportunities on the issue in the president's wheelhouse. Fellow liberal Times columnist Nicholas Kristof also advised Biden to get out of the race. The headlines from that man said, Biden cannot go on like this. I'm hearing high anxiety from Democrats over Biden's debate performance. President Biden, it's time to drop out. The Times was not alone. If Biden truly believes democracy is on the line, he should step aside and let another Democrat step in to take on Trump. Put the country first, said Alyssa Farah Griffin of The View. Joe Biden should save his legacy by ending his candidacy, Vox correspondent Eric Levitz. The Biden-Trump campaigns did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Fox News. Joining us is the Texan. He has his own are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I could. You're coming in very scratchy and keep breaking up.
Are you talking about over the feed?
No, I'm on the phone.
Oh, okay. Well, just you can understand what I'm saying. So this is Gary. Gary, thanks very much for joining us, Texan. I'll get to you in just a couple of moments. Gary, talk to me about what you saw last night. Who won, who lost, and why?
Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a strange answer. Biden won, Trump won. Biden lost, Trump lost. But I mean, pretty much the whole. I mean, people know who they're going to vote for. I think 99.9, and unfortunately, a lot of folks just go party line, or they vote for because of the hatred of one person. So, as you can see by the different media outlets, Biden held his own. He did okay. Trump did terrible. So Trump wiped the floor with him. So I mean, all that kind of just neutralizes all of this. So I think it's pretty much a toss-up. I mean, I don't think you could really choose a winner from it because there are people that are going to believe Biden's lies for whatever reason, and they're going to believe that Trump is lying, or vice versa. Here's my whole sticking point with this. I think that the Trump campaign should have insisted that Robert Kennedy be on that stage also, I think that would have got him a lot of mileage, and and just by that being the right thing to do. That's what I think they should have done. But the commie-crats are afraid of Robert Kennedy, and they don't want him there because they just want to continue with this shadow government thing that everybody believes is happening behind the scenes, and he's not going to fit into that. But I think President Trump would have got a lot of mileage saying, no. He's a viable candidate. He needs to be here also. And I think that would have possibly swayed some of the people that are sitting on the fence right now to vote for him.
Gary, let me ask you this question. Should the Democrat Party immediately make peace with RFK and put him at the top of the ticket, or should Michelle Obama step in?
You know what? I mean, they're not going to. I mean, that would be the smart thing to do with RFK Jr. That would be the right thing to do, is from where I'm sitting. But they don't want him. That's not going to happen because they just want someone who's going to fill in and be another sock puppet. That's my take on it.
Do you believe that? Say, for example, for the Democrats, the progressives mostly in the Democrat Party, do you believe that both Donald Trump and RFK represent an end to the progressive agenda?
Absolutely. It's absolutely. It's the both of them, and of course, they're like all human beings, they are flawed. There are things that they say that I may not necessarily agree or not agree with. But they're pretty much, hey, this is what we need to do for America, and RFK says similar, and they don't want that. They don't want it. They don't want to lose their jobs, quote unquote, and they just want to sit there and collect their checks and their congressional pensions and all the other nonsense, and they got to keep throwing up smoke screens to do that because their policies are garbage and they don't work, and they know that. And RFK or Donald Trump aren't going to put up with that stuff.
Thanks very much, Gary. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on the Wells Report. Texan, give me a call. The line is open. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is a guy that is a brilliant commentator on a different set of platforms and so on. And I'm very much looking forward. He's eating lunch. And so lunch is important. I'll ask you those questions again. Who won the debate last night? And who lost the debate last night? 817-379-2172. Texan, is this you?
Yes, sir.
Good to have you here. Thanks very much for joining us on the Wells Report. Talk to me a little bit about this question. Who won, who lost, and why?
Well, that first that caller you just had, I really appreciate what he had to say. That was pretty well thought out. But actually, well, it's pretty obvious who won the so-called debate. It wasn't so much a debate, I think, but I want to comment on this, JD, that listening to the rules and how it was all set up, I was actually worried for Trump, but Trump came out way ahead on the deal, and I really like the fact that he wasn't allowed to interrupt Biden like he did last time, because that was like, man, that was a mess. And the way that they constructed it this time, and like you said earlier, no audience, I thought that was going to hamper it also, but no, it didn't actually. So I think Trump came off very, very clean, very well mannered, and it was conducted in such a way that it seemed civil.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was very presidential on the part of President Trump. He didn't rise to the bait on several occasions. But talk to me a little bit about the moderators. I noticed last night when I got off work from my day job, I noticed last night that the CNN commentators would extend the debate with an extra minute, which was in the rules for President Biden. They did that twice, but they didn't do that for Donald Trump. Does that show some kind of bias that people were worried about? Because President Trump did have some responses after the rebuttal from President Biden, but did not get a chance to do that, and they just moved on to a different topic. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, the whole thing was geared for Biden. The whole setup was geared for Biden to actually help him, and that was obvious. And of course they had to give him extra minutes. But you got to remember that Trump agreed to all these rules. So evidently, he was okay with it. But he needed that extra time because it proved to be that he did need it, because he would get off track and mumble and freeze and do what he did. And it took him a lot longer to get through whatever he was trying to get through at the time. So, yeah, it was definitely biased and set for Biden's advantage. But like I said, the fact that Trump could not interrupt and just try to blow him off the stage, that actually worked in to Trump's advantage and backfired on CNN. It's obvious now, like I said in the chats, mainstream media cannot hide the fact that Joe Biden has mental difficulties. He's not a well man, and they can't take their little snippets and everything and make him out to be something that he's not, when we all know he's not. But that was the proof in the pudding right there. And I agree with Jess. Jess, made a good point. I heard a lot of people talking about that this was planned all along to replace Biden. And now the big question is, who are they going to replace him with? Because the choice is obvious. Mainstream media has turned on him. Jon Stewart and all this. I've been watching these snippets and clips on YouTube, and they are just tearing Biden down. And so they're eating their own there. And I'm still saying I believe that Gavin Newsom is he's waiting in the wings.
I don't.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, at the risk of opining before my time, I will say that Gavin Newsom would be foolish to jump into this fray. If indeed we are looking at Joe Biden among Democrat Party leaders as a sacrificial lamb, then if Gavin Newsom were to jump in, first of all, I don't believe he'd win. The backlog of disaster that is California would just sink his ship as soon as it was eliminated. The other thing is that I believe when President Obama ran for office, he got a lot of votes from people who wanted to see an African American at the head of the United States of America. And I thought that was, I had no problem with that assertion. I believe that if the Democrats are going to win or even do something credible, Michelle Obama is the only choice they have, because that would channel some of those people that are voting for, say, for example, an idea as opposed to a president. What do you think, quickly?
Quickly, I want to say that that's a good point, but I don't think America wants another Obama, and I don't think America really wants any more Kennedys, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
we're kind of sick of those families, and I'll just leave that at that.
Tell me about your show so that people know where to find you.
You can find me on PILL.net. That's PILL.net. It's a freedom of speech platform that was created about 3 years ago. I've been there since the beginning. You can find me as The Texan. That's the name of my channel. And my show is The Texan Talk, or The Big Show.
Hey,
and, man, we have a great time over there. Thank
you sure do. I've been on that broadcast. And once again, that's Pilled, PILLED.com. Is that correct, Texan? Okay. Anyway, it's PILLED.com, and look for The Texan. What do you think? Time to talk. 817-379-2172. Back in a moment.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Good morning. This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. Weigh in. Who won the debate last night? Who lost the debate last night? And why? Let's talk a little bit about fact checks. This comes down in the mainstream media as a situation like this. Yeah, President Biden had a really tough time, but President Trump lied. That is the balancing point between the coverages. And there is a fact check which is reasonably fair on USA Today. Biden claimed that we lowered the cost of an insulin shot from $400 to $15. That's false, according to the fact checkers at USA Today. The Inflation Reduction Act that Biden signed into law in August of 2022 capped the out-of-pocket cost of insulin at $35 a month for all seniors on Medicare. This, according to the White House. Several pharmaceutical companies, including Eli Lilly, followed suit, and limited the monthly cost of the drug to $35 per month as well. There is no evidence that Biden limited the cost of insulin beyond that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's move forward. Biden claims he was endorsed by the Border Patrol. This is partly false. The National Border Patrol Council, the labor union representing more than 1,800 U.S. Border Patrol agents, posted to X, formerly Twitter, minutes after Biden made the claim. To be clear, we never have and never will endorse Biden. That is, I don't know how that becomes partly false, so I'll fact check the fact checkers. Biden claim illegal border crossing have dropped 40% after his June directive. Biden took executive action June 4th that authorized the U.S. to turn away migrants who entered the country illegally when crossing levels are high. The policy is triggered anytime unlawful crossings hit an average of 2,500 people a day in a given week. In remarks posted on June 26th, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and Border Patrol encounters along the U.S.-Mexico border had dropped by 40% since Biden took the action. However, immigration experts have cautioned it's difficult to point to any one reason for a drop in crossings at the border. PolitiFact noted in its fact check that claim was true. Trump put out a claim. Everybody wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court. They happen to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. They say, the USA fact checkers say, this is not an accurate summary of public opinion on the question. Numerous polls showed Americans were not in favor of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade in June of 2022. For example, a poll by Pew Research in July of 2022 found 57% of respondents said they disapproved of overturning the landmark decision. Another PBS NewsHour NPR Marist poll conducted May 2022 before the case was decided found that 64% of respondents were opposed of overturning Roe v. Wade. President Biden's claim historians voted Trump the worst president in history. Biden was presumably referring to the 2024 Presidential Greatness Project Expert Survey, which is a joint project from the University of Houston professor Brandon Rottinghouse and Coastal Carolina University professor Justin Vaughn. The survey responded in late 2023 that voted Trump the lowest in overall presidential greatness, behind James Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, and Franklin Pierce. Abraham Lincoln was rated highest. Joe Biden ranked at number 14. Trump claimed, I brought the National Guard in during the 2020 Minnesota unrest. It was Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat, who activated the state's National Guard to respond to unrest following the death of George Floyd, according to a press release issued by Walz's office on May 28, 2020. President Trump said that on May 30th of 2020 that he gave permission to mobilize the Guard. And so the president does take some credit about that. And it is a shared responsibility. The president is the commander-in-chief and therefore has ultimate authority when it comes to the American fighting force, including the National Guard. But the governors do wield that power. Biden claimed Trump praised Hitler, saying that he did some good things. Biden's quote of Trump is a reference to comments the former president allegedly made while talking with his White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, in 2018 during a trip to Paris. Well, Hitler did a lot of good things, Trump reportedly told Kelly, according to the CNN report. Trump later denied that he made the comments and denied the conversation took place. Liz Harrington, a Trump spokesman, told CNN the claim is totally false. President Trump never said this, said Harrington. It is made up fake news, probably by a general who was incompetent and was fired. Trump claim, record approval rating from the VA. This is both false and a mischaracterization of what the quarterly customer experience surveys from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs measures. The Veterans Signals survey tracked the proportion of service members who expressed having trust in the VA. It's not a presidential approval rating. It has topped 80% twice, was 80% in 2020 during the Trump administration. It reached a high of 80.4% in May under President Biden. Trump said that there are more illicit drugs coming into the U.S. under Biden. This is false, says USA Today. When measured by weight, drug seizures are trending down. Measured by weight. Which weighs more, a bale of marijuana or 30,000 tabs of fentanyl? That is, in this particular case, I have to point this out, that is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. That is the first hour of the Wells Report. Thanks very much for joining us. We are going to talk more about reactions coming up in the next hour. And coming up at approximately 11:18. At 11:18, I will opine. At this particular moment, I'm simply relating the news. It's what we do best. We report the news, and we're very serious about it. But I do have some comments, and I will be making them at 11:18 this morning. Until then, thanks very much for joining us here on this edition of the Wells Report. It's a special town hall edition. We need your opinions. Who won the debate? Who lost the debate and why? 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap,
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine. I've held my opinions today in abeyance until the next segment, which happens at 11:18. I am simply reporting the news today, and I am also reporting what is on our chat room, which you can find on the platform that you are currently watching this broadcast on. And I will be more than happy to share your opinions. You can also share your opinions on the telephone, 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. The Wells Report in progress. And so we had a debate last night, and I have made the editorial decision to, for the most part, stick with left-leaning news sources for the report that I'm bringing you today. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I believe it's incumbent upon this broadcast to report the news fairly. The sad circumstance here is that it is a very, very difficult day for the entire United States of America, and a lot of people are opining about who won and who lost. The mainstream media, specifically the left-wing or left-center media outlets, are in horror and shock today, and they are saying so. We reported that last hour here on the Wells Report, and we are hoping that indeed what ends up happening is that we see a sea change. Hang on a second here. That we see a sea change in our nation and our politics and our media. They have to reevaluate what they have been up to for the sake of the nation. And let's see. Okay. All right, and let's see if I can get this together here. Okay, here we go. Let me, Fox News is playing a game with me today, so I'm working on that. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Hold on, please. Hold on. Okay. Oh, that's why. All right, stand by. All right. Biden's disaster debate performance sparks media meltdown, calls for him to withdraw from the 2024 race. This from Fox News. President Biden's rough performance at the CNN presidential debate has caused an earthquake across the media landscape, ranging from dismal reviews to vocal calls on the left for him to withdraw. This was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, wide, and very aggressive panic in the Democrat Party, says John King from CNN. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues to this moment. It involves party strategists. It involves elected officials. It involves fundraisers, and they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket. They're having conversations about what they should do about it. CNBC had a thoughtful report here, and we're going to bring it to you on the Wells Report. Take a look at this. This involves some what appears to be the next phase of all of this, which involves a recrimination. Take a look.
I don't think the president managed to step over that low bar, and questions about his ability to keep steady, I think were a very huge question. In fact, yeah. I'd like to play it. I think we have the moment pretty early on.
We do.
And maybe we could play that just so people can kind of see it for themselves.
The COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicaid. He beat it to death.
Afterwards, I stayed up to watch the debate. I wanted to see the performance. I was a little surprised by the reaction that was immediately forthcoming on both CNN and then MSNBC, where they said that Democrats were kind of in a panic and looking to potentially replace him on the ticket. I think that's going to be the issues that swirl and come out of this.
Eamon, did you
I mean, you said people were surprised.
Go ahead, John.
No one should have been surprised. And when, Bill Ackman had some, I don't usually cite him, but this is the very last thing he said. Someone needs to take the Democratic leadership behind the woodshed. It was too strong to call it elder abuse, but they've pushed this poor man into the position where we all really just felt bad for him and for all of us because of the human condition. And it's not just the Democratic leadership. Right. You don't need to interrupt me yet, Eamon. You'll get your chance. But and the mainstream media too, across the board, were more than willing to say, don't believe what you see. To say, don't believe what you see. And we all knew this. And anyone that said it, it's, oh, well, Trump is so bad for all these other reasons. And if this was a surprise to anyone, that's what's so unfortunate about it. Now, I don't know what happened, but it's sad for the entire country. And no one's taken any satisfaction in what we saw last night.
Yeah, Joe, I just push back on the idea that there's a Democratic Party establishment that pushed Joe Biden into this position. I mean, it's clear that Joe Biden pushed Joe Biden into this position. This is a person who does not want to step aside, doesn't want to step down.
They've been riding it since Clyburn. They've been riding him since Clyburn replaced Bernie Sanders with him.
Yeah. So it's Joe Biden's fault. This, according to CNBC, and that is at least disingenuous. I know I did say that I was not going to opine. I will have more comments in a few minutes. Painful. Swing state voters react to President Biden's presidential debate with Donald Trump. A voter in Nevada compared President Joe Biden's performance to elder abuse. A voter in Georgia was so disgusted with what she was hearing from the Democratic incumbent and former President Donald Trump that he quit watching, walked to a liquor store, and bought a six-pack of beer. Another voter in Wisconsin called it a painful experience. Americans reacted to the first presidential debate of 2024 with a mix of exhaustion, trepidation, and disgust. This, by the way, from USA Today. The face-off between the current president and his predecessor was the earliest televised debate in American history, taking place before either man has officially declared the party's candidate in the National Party conventions. Biden and Trump spent 90 minutes on stage in Atlanta answering questions posed by moderators from CNN and trading insults, at times the most personal of terms. You have the morals of an alley cat, said Biden. Speaking about Donald Trump, citing the former president's supposed sexual escapade with former porn star Stormy Daniels. By the way, I added the word supposed. The bias in this is obvious. The paragraph as written says, you have the morals of an alley cat, Biden told Trump, citing the former president's sexual escapade with former porn star Stormy Daniels. There is at least ambiguity as to whether or not there was a tryst involving Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels. And that is dishonest journalism. Trump called Biden the worst president in history and kept referring to his opponent as a liar who was unable to tell the truth. Biden told Trump that he was a whiner, referring to his refusal to accept the results of the 2020 election. You can't stand loss. Something snapped in you when you lost last time. Trump said the United States had become a third world nation under Biden and said what he has done to the country is absolutely criminal. Near the end of the debate, the two candidates even sparred over golf scores. Let's not act like children, said Donald Trump. You are a child, said President Biden. Reporters for USA Today network partners interviewed swing state residents shortly after the debate to see how they thought. Here's what they said. Good luck, America. The debate solidifies voter concerns in Wisconsin. Voters heading to a debate watch party in Wisconsin's liberal bastion, the capital city of Madison, lamented the choice in front of them. Noah Anders grimaced when asked what he thought about the debate. Anders said that it was a painful experience to sit through. Neither candidate inspires our country. Anders, who will soon start law school at the University of Wisconsin, said the debate left him with concerns about Biden's cognitive abilities, but he also questions Trump's mental acuity. To be president, you have to deal with a lot of tough issues. I don't know if they have the ability to navigate the nuance and hardships of the job. Good luck, America. So let's see, Timothy Sanders, he's 48 years old. Despite the president's shaky performance, he's still optimistic about Biden, but he acknowledged the president did not sound as crisp at a time that optics could be important to the election. I'm not concerned at all about his age. If you had a grandpa you took fishing and he had a stutter, you would still trust him. You wouldn't put him in a debate on live television if you could avoid that because that's entertainment. It's not fair. Jesse Klingon, 42 years old, a construction worker from Milwaukee, also wasn't pleased with the Biden-Trump matchup. It's kind of picking the worst of two evils. I resent having to choose one of them, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have Biden on his worst day than President Trump at all. Arizona voters closed ranks around their preferred candidate. In Arizona, the reaction to the debate reflected wide partisan divides and rancor that has characterized the race so far. At pro-Biden and pro-Trump debate watch parties in the Phoenix metro area, attendees closed ranks around their candidates and criticized the other as a liar or worse. Trump fans ridiculed Biden over his age. During the debate, several watch party attendees said he's going to poop in his pants. At the halftime mark of the debate, Angela Di Liberto, 51 of Phoenix, said Trump was smoking Biden. I want Trump to say, put him out on stage like this is cruel, she said. Her friend, Ann Campbell, 69 of Phoenix, said she's concerned about Biden's age. It's sad to me because I have elderly parents and he needs to be at home. Amelia Galatano, 58-year-old Phoenix resident, defended Biden's performance at the CNN presidential debate. I appreciate that he's gone on the attack. I appreciate he's calling out lies, calling Trump a liar and not buckling, and only acting on the defensive. When asked about Biden's fitness to lead heading into the election, she deemed it a difficult situation, but also highlighted both candidates' advanced stages. We want real solutions. A voter in Nevada. Reno Republican Nicole Harris said she felt like the country was lost while watching the presidential debate. I'm going to change that to Nicole. My dad used to tell me to understand how a company is doing, look at its leadership. Now we have President Biden looking like this. It's elder abuse. Trying to follow his mumblings was hard. Okay. So let me move forward through some of this. That was the swing. Here we go. Media hosts are speaking out. This from USA Today. In the minutes and hours following the first debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, late-night hosts, morning show anchors had a variety of reactions to what happened on stage. 90 minutes on Thursday without a studio audience, Biden and Trump attacked each other. Biden struggled on the debate stage with a raspy voice, and so on. Good Morning America host said the president struggled with answers. Trump struggled with the truth, which is the mainstream media narrative at this particular moment. So that is the news. That is what we know. That is what's being reported across the nation. I have withheld my opinions regarding the debate until the next segment, which is just a few minutes from now. Who won the debate? Who lost the debate? Why? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Also coming up today, some landmark Supreme Court decisions. We'll be getting to that in the last half hour of this broadcast. If you have comments, now's the time to make them in this special town hall edition of the Wells Report. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Let's see. One thing I do say regarding Biden, the look on his face when Trump dispelled Biden lies with fact. Biden really believes he's been truthful from whoever is giving him his answers. This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. We saw the debate last night. Here are my comments on that debate. Who won? In the narrow sense of just looking at the debate, it was obvious that President Trump won that debate. But the victory is very much like the hunter who takes a spiked club and kills a baby seal. Joe Biden had no business being on that stage. So Biden won. So President Trump won. Who lost? While the Trump win was obvious, this debate was a loser for a lot of people, specifically all of us. First, Joe Biden lost the debate. He lost his presidency. He lost his candidacy. Joe Biden is finished. It's obvious. In that, I agree with Special Counsel Robert Hur, who, while investigating the illegal holding of classified information by Joe Biden, called him a well-meaning old man with a faulty memory, and he declined to prosecute. In other words, the president was incompetent to stand trial. He is thus incompetent to run the country, and that became painfully obvious last night. The people responsible for putting Joe Biden on that stage also lost. Those people are guilty of elder abuse. Some people say that's a overheated statement, that it's hyperbole. It is not. The commentator on the CNBC report said that somebody needs to take the Democrat leadership out behind the woodshed. That's the least they should do. The Democrat Party has lost its way. It is damaged beyond recovery unless they make remarkable changes. What would those be? Make peace with RFK. Remember the great Democrat presidents of the past. JFK, who envisioned a Democrat Party that asks not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. President Clinton said, the last Democrat president, President Clinton said, the era of big government is over. Those two concepts represent the future of the Democrat Party. The European socialist progressive ideology espoused by President Obama is not going to succeed. The American people have spoken. That's why RFK is in the race. That's why Donald Trump is in the race. Both of those candidates belie the end of the progressive agenda in America. The last persons that lost, the United States of America. Thomas Friedman wept when he saw the president on the debate stage last night. I was stunned. The president was awful. Not because he's an awful guy, but because he's an old one. The word that came to my mind as I was watching last night was implosion. Calculated, fashioned, put forward against the country and this old man. President Biden will not resign. He can't. No one would accept a Kamala Harris presidency. The Democrat Party has two choices. Make peace with RFK. He will lose, but that's one chance. The other chance is Michelle Obama, who may indeed be able to channel the people who would like to see a minority, African-American woman running the presidency. Shame, no level of shame that can be ascribed to the Democrat Party could be high enough. Shame on them. Shame on what they've done to Joe Biden. Shame on what they've done to America. This is the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Before we turn to Supreme Court action today, there are a few things I want to share from the chat room. Mark says, replying to Gary, true, Biden only knows what he is told. It didn't work last night. There were 16 people pounding information into Joe Biden. He was over-prepared. His mental faculties did not allow him to process the information. He had so many answers and could not come up with a single one because the brain just isn't up to it. That was a huge mistake, which had been compiled on other huge mistakes by the Democrat leadership that, in my view, threatens the future of that party. They have blown it in such incomprehensible ways. And this is the party that wants to rule over everything in the United States. They are so incompetent. They cannot see the forest for the trees, the reality plainly in front of them. And they put Joe Biden in a position where he could only fail. And he did. Mark says, strange, Democrat voters are now just seeing Biden's decline. It's not that they haven't seen it. It's that now they are admitting it. That's what Anne Guzman says. Who will be the new puppet? Asks Ann. Maybe pretty face Pelosi nephew who has managed to destroy California. She's referring to Gavin Newsom. Gary says, I'm wearing a fishing shirt at work today in honor of the Wells Report. Thanks, Gary. And then he says, FSF. I'm afraid to look up that. I'm afraid to look up that abbreviation. Let's see. Because they're no longer the Democrat Party. They're communists. I'm afraid so. It's the way it looks. That's why they didn't have a primary process. They were afraid that Bernie Sanders was going to win it. And therefore completely destroy the Democrat Party as the one we know and grew up with. One that was pro-American. Now it's only pro-Democrat. There are no Americans in the Democrat Party, it seems, although there are a few. But many of them left the party. Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Manchin, RFK Jr. Ms. Obama would be nothing more than a continuation of her husband's policies. That's true. Would America accept another Obama administration? They're trying to remake the forest to their standards. Yvonne is referring to the fact that the Democrat Party has ignored plain reality in favor of politics. Always disastrous. The perfect example is the Chernobyl disaster in the Soviet Union, where politics ruled everything. And they believed their politics were more important than nuclear physics. And they have paid a price with poisoned land that will be so for 20,000 years. We don't need that in the United States. Moving on. The Supreme Court today ruled the Justice Department overstepped by charging hundreds of people who rioted at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th with obstruction in a decision that could force prosecutors to reopen at least some of the cases, this being reported by CNN. I believe they are wrong. I will tell you that this decision from the Supreme Court will reopen all of those cases, and they should be reopened and summarily dismissed. At the same time, the High Court ruled the charge could be filed against the rioters if prosecutors are able to demonstrate they were attempting not just to push their way into the building, but rather stop the arrival of certificates used to count electoral votes and certify the results of the election. The High Court's decision means that special counsel Jack Smith is likely to continue to pursue the same charge against President Donald Trump. That's absurd. I don't know why CNN is pointing that out, because it doesn't make any difference. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion for a 6-3 majority that included mostly conservatives and one liberal, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Justice Amy Coney Barrett filed a dissenting opinion, was joined by Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan. In the majority opinion, Chief Justice John Roberts barely mentions the attack on the U.S. Capitol that precipitated the charges in the attack, focusing heavily on a detailed discussion of the text of the law. Roberts said the breach of the Capitol caused members of Congress to evacuate the chambers and delayed the certification process. Much of the case in the opinion focused on the word otherwise in the law. Roberts said the court's approach tracked, quote, the common sense intuition that Congress would not ordinarily introduce a general term that renders meaningless the specific text that accompanies it. Overly wordy, overly complex. John Roberts looking for a place in history. And very little else. In his majority opinion, the Chief Justice argued that if Congress intended for prosecutors to be able to track or tack a 20-year prison sentence onto the kind of conduct witnessed on January 6th, lawmakers would have said so. Nothing in the text or statutory history suggests the law is designed to impose up to 20 years imprisonment on essentially all defendants who commit obstruction of justice in any way and who might be subject to lesser penalties under more specific obstruction statutes. That is a good point. That is a good point. Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote a dissent joined by Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor. Killing a person with the intent to prevent a product or production of a record in an official proceeding constitutes conduct that impairs the availability of a record for an official proceeding. Using physical force against a person to influence testimony in an official proceeding counts as impairing the integrity of other things used in that official proceeding. The person that was killed was a rioter. She was killed by a federal agent. And that was the only death that occurred. But there were plenty of assaults. What the rioters did with the Capitol Police was reprehensible. Should people be thrown in jail for assault? Battery? Certainly. Should they be political prisoners with some vague description of what the government sees as their intent? That's thought crime. We don't put people away for what they think. We put people away for what they do. As the Supreme Court limited obstruction charges against January 6th rioters, the Supreme Court still has to decide on former President Donald Trump's claim of absolute immunity. That is not, it's also biased. He claims presidential immunity, not absolute presidential immunity. That decision, by the way, will come up on Monday. That's the end of the term. It is the very last day. And so we shall see. The Supreme Court's ruling may impact rioters more than Donald Trump. Special counsel Jack Smith alleges Donald Trump's obstruction of the congressional proceeding is much more sweeping than the rioters, dating back to a scheme that began on Election Day and involved the use of bogus electoral certificates sent in from states around the country. It's going to be very difficult to pin all that on Donald Trump. He is the president. He is not someone who essentially instructs the states. As we have seen, the states do their own business. Jack Smith is wrong. Trump's legal team is likely to attempt to use the Supreme Court opinion this morning in Fisher, that's the name of the case, to challenge parts of the case against him. And when it returns to the trial level judge, the special counsel contemplated the possibility the Supreme Court would narrow the obstruction charge this way and said in court filings submitted in the immunity case that his use of the charge would still survive under such a ruling. Isn't that interesting? They believed that the Supreme Court would rule this way on this particular circumstance, which means that they knew that they had a shaky case to begin with. And they tried to immunize themselves from it. That is dishonest. That is not equal protection under the law. That is lawfare. Plain and simple. And they know it. That's the thing that probably annoys me the most out of all of this, although there are an awful lot of things that annoy me. Though Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson joined the court's majority opinion, she wrote separately to stress that Congress had not meant to create a broad obstruction statute when it enacted a law at issue in this case. When she was a trial-level judge in Washington, D.C., before joining the High Court, Jackson had overseen a handful of criminal cases against rioters as the DOJ was making its first batches of arrest under the deadly attack. Conversely, there's no indication whatsoever Congress intended to create a sweeping all-purpose obstruction statute. Here, it beggars belief that Congress would have inserted a breathtakingly broad, first-of-its-kind criminal obstruction statute, accompanied by a substantial 20-year prison maximum penalty, in the midst of a significantly more granular series of obstruction prohibitions, without clarifying its intent to do so, not in the text of the provision itself, nor in the surrounding statutory context, nor in any statement issued during the enactment process, said Jackson. She's right on the button on this. That was a good dissent. That was really good. I'm impressed. I actually am. So, Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement he was disappointed by the Supreme Court's decision. January 6th was an unprecedented attack, he said, on the cornerstone of our system, the peaceful transfer of power from one administration to the next. I'm disappointed by today's decision, which limits an important federal statute the department has sought to use to ensure those most responsible for that attack face appropriate consequences. Sorry, sir. A 20-year prison sentence for free speech is an abomination. Those people are political prisoners. We don't do that in the United States. Jeffrey Green, a lawyer for plaintiff Joseph Fisher, who was accused of breaking into the Capitol on January 6th and is the namesake for the case, said this: the various opinions offer a particularly clear window into different statutory interpretation modalities among the justices on today's court. He said he would be watching the ruling's effect on other prosecutions, but, quote, we are happy to have driven this criminal statute back to its proper evidence tampering turf. That's also a good point. Let's see what else. Former President Donald Trump declared a big win in a post on his Truth Social platform after the Supreme Court ruling that the Justice Department overstepped by charging hundreds of people who rioted at the Capitol on January 6th with obstruction. Campaign spokesperson told CNN his post is their official response. Trump also shared a quote from conservative George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley. For Trump, this rips the wings off the plane that Jack Smith has been trying to take off in D.C. Trump's team is still reviewing the decision, how it's going to impact special counsel Jack Smith's January 6th case against the former president. However, his advisor's initial reaction is the court ruling further bolsters their longstanding claim the Justice Department has gone too far in its charges against Trump and his allies. Sources familiar with the thinking tell CNN. Let's see what else. They are going to return to court. We're talking about the January 6th rioters. Indeed, every single one should. Elsewhere in Supreme Court decisions this day, the Supreme Court is continuing to curb the power of federal regulators. The Supreme Court overturned a 40-year-old precedent that has guided how federal agencies protect the environment, workers, consumers, and more, making it easier for regulations to be challenged in court in one of the biggest decisions of the term. A conservative court that's been increasingly skeptical of federal power rejected the deference courts have been giving federal agencies in cases where the law is unclear. While the pair of cases decided today were brought by herring fishermen who objected to being forced to pay for federal inspections of their catch, The decision strikes at decades of rules for a wide range of regulations. Those procedures were set by a landmark 1984 decision, Chevron versus the National Resources Defense Council, which is one of the most frequently cited Supreme Court decisions. The ruling said courts should side with a federal agency's interpretation of a law as long as it's a reasonable interpretation of what Congress intended. That is good, because these regulatory agencies have run unbridled in their destruction of American lives based on not law, but regulations they concoct themselves, and in many cases handle the judicial process of those regulations. The Supreme Court ruled today, and this is the final one. This is about homeless camps. The Supreme Court ruled today that people without homes can be arrested and fined for sleeping in public areas, overturning a lower court's ruling that enforcing campaign bans when shelter is lacking is cruel and unusual punishment. The 6-3 decision was the most significant ruling on the issue from the High Court in decades. It comes as record numbers of Americans lack permanent housing, and as both Democrat and Republican leaders have complained, a 2018 decision by a lower court has hamstrung their ability to address homeless encampments that threaten health and public safety. The court cannot say that the punishments Grants Pass imposes here qualify as cruel and unusual, said Neil Gorsuch, referring to the small Oregon municipality at the center of the case. The city imposes only limited fines for first-time offenders, an order temporarily barring the individual from camping in a public park for repeat offenders, and a maximum sentence of 30 days in jail for those who later violate the order. But Justice Sonia Sotomayor, writing for the court's liberal minority, said the laws essentially criminalize the act of sleeping. Sleep is a biological necessity, not a crime. For some people, sleeping outside is their only option. She noted that Grants Pass jails and fines people who sleep in public, such as in a car, for using as little as a blanket to keep warm or a rolled-up shirt as a pillow. For people with no access to shelter, that punishes them for being homeless. It's unconscionable and unconstitutional, she said. Ann Oliva, the CEO of the National Alliance to End Homelessness, said the decision gives free rein to local officials who prefer pointless and expensive arrests, imprisonment, rather than real solutions. This tactic has consistently failed to reduce homelessness in the past. It will assuredly fail to reduce homelessness in the future. Sorry, I disagree. Vagrancy laws, loitering laws have long been a staple of municipal law, and that's all Grants Pass is doing. People have to move along. If they are homeless, they should seek home. If they are shelterless, they should seek shelter. There are options available. As a matter of fact, this woman lords over an organization that makes that possible. So if indeed your mission is to end homelessness, then by all means end homelessness. But don't end a municipality's ability to move people along because they are camping in public spaces and not following the laws that make cities more easily lived in by people with homes at the hands of people without them. This is the Wells Report. We'll end this broadcast next.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Many people who watch this broadcast will note my somber tone today. It is a horrible day for the United States. It is a day where fully half of the American political movement has covered itself in shame. I'm not the only one that feels this way. There's a guy out there named Van Jones. He is a presidential advisor. He is a Democrat. And I'm not talking about a progressive Democrat. He is a real Democrat. He is somber this morning, too. He said so last night in this statement. Take a look from CNN.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis, you kind of have the old man versus the con man. I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can. But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
Did you hear what he said there? We need to choose a new way forward if they will allow it. They being the leadership of the Democrat Party, which has assuredly lost its way. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an American. The Democrat Party is not. It is not an American political party. It is a party in and to itself, with its own ideas. It is not so much socialist as it is sociopathic, because all it knows is what it knows, and all it thinks is what it thinks, and all it believes is what it believes, and all it cares about is what it cares about. The American people are left out of that equation at every turn. I'm too sad to be angry. I am too remorseful to throw thunder and lightning, balls of fire, against the Democrat Party. In the words of Neil Armstrong, in the middle of a very delicate and difficult simulation to land on the moon, he realized as he was sitting in the simulator, supposedly flying the lunar module, that Mission Control had made an error, and he remained silent until that error was made plain. And in a private conversation with Buzz Aldrin, he said, "I know that we should have aborted, but I wanted Mission Control to see it, and I also don't want to rub their noses in it." I am not going to rub the Democrat National Committee, and by inclusion, their entire party. I'm not going to rub their noses in it. I'm going to point out that in this entire process, I was correct over and over and over. I said at the outset of the idea that Joe Biden would run for president, that Joe Biden needed to take his win as a vice president, retire to his Delaware home, sit on his porch drinking great scotch, smoking Cuban cigars, and talking about what a great human being he was, as old men often do, instead of ruining his entire political legacy with one 90-minute imposed error. The way forward. Well, I have no problem with the idea of another Trump presidency. I have not made up my decision. I have not made my decision whether to vote for him or not. I'm waiting. And as I was right before about Joe Biden, as I was right to say that it was a cruel and vicious punishment for a Democrat Party stalwart to dangle the stardom of presidential power in front of his face when he was incapable of being able to realize that it would be the biggest mistake of his political life. And that is exactly what we have seen. Go back into the tapes. They're all there. Look at what I've said about this guy. He is a well-meaning old man, the faulty memory. And now he's left an indelible memory of disaster on all of us. Got to hit the right buttons. Never was a typist. This has been the Wells Report for a turning point day in the history of the United States of America. Our political industry will change. It should. If you find value in this broadcast, please subscribe to it. Send it to your friends. Ask them to subscribe to it. Make sure you hit the notification button. Although we tried to run the debate last night, it involved a multiplexing of studios across the nation, not just the Fort Wells Keller studios here in Fort Worth, Texas, but also Steel Boy Studios in Denver, Colorado, where executive producer Dirk Steele tried to run that debate, and I thank him for his efforts. This has been the Wells Report. God bless you. I'll see you Monday. I'm getting better at this. I didn't burst into tears, but that's the magnitude of this tragedy. It is epic in that many tragic stories are. I knew that Joe Biden was going to absolutely destroy himself. How did I know? And nobody in the Democrat National Committee knew. How is that? Is the puppetry of Joe Biden more important than Joe Biden? The Democrat National Committee and all those people running the administration said yes. I don't agree with Joe Biden. I think the guy's a charlatan. I think he's an opportunist. But I also think he's a president. And I think he should have been treated better. And he is gone. Presidency, gone. Legacy, gone. We've seen moments of failure in presidential debates in the past. We're going to be seeing these presidential failures until we leave this planet. And every single time it happens, I will turn away, as I often turn away from the carnage of disaster. Not because I'm weak, but because I refuse to indulge in the spectatorship of dismal self-destruction, of horror, of carnage. I've often said that I hate politics. I hate reporting it. I also hate the perception from radio management that that's all I do. But when it came to the 2024 election, I knew that this was all I should do. And I had a chance to be on a radio station in Dallas, Texas, one of the greatest that ever turned on a transmitter. That was WBAP. But I stuck to my guns. And I will continue to stick to my guns. But the political process in the United States needs to realize that they are not up to the job that has been given them. Oh, they're capable of doing a fine job as federal legislators and executives and so on. They're capable of doing it. The idea that politics should rule everything in the United States and the absolute defeat and loss of that capability has been made plain. They can't do it. The federal government does big, dumb things. State government does smaller, more particular, more granular things based on the will of the people. That's called federalism. The federal government needs to stick to their guns when it comes to federalism and stay in their lane. And they do not. Will it and has it taken the destruction of an old man in front of the world for them to see it? What of Joe Biden? What of Joe Biden? Finally, to you political sociopaths that put this man in this place, I'll never forget you. I'll never forget the result of your mental illness as you tried to exploit a man with mental illness. Many people say, well, are you going to go on some crusade and stomp them into the dirt? No, I don't have to. I will continue to do what I've always done, which is sit before you and report the truth and the facts. Those truths, those facts, will be the destruction of that evil, that sociopathic lust and obsession with power. I don't have to say a word. All I have to do is report the facts. And I will. Until Monday, God bless you and your endeavors. God bless these United States. Go to church on Sunday. Pray. Pray for our future. Pray for our nation. Pray for our children. Be safe. Make good decisions.